Welcome back to another episode of Come Dine With Us. Last week, Ewan decided to figure out if his fire alarm does actually work and turned his kitchen into a sauna. Kate McCabe decided to see if meringues could work in an Aga, and it turns out they can't.
In the higher oven for literally 5 minutes.
She did, however, pull through and make an exquisite cake that Nigella Lawson herself would be proud of.
Not just saying that.
Luke challenged his mental maths and tried to do some simple arithmetic and failed.
1, 2, so 1 down the middle.
And got slightly startled trying to open a champagne bottle.
Bonjour, bonjour, oui, ça va? Oh, blimey!
There's a boy! I know! He's a water dream!
Luke, yeah, it's your time to host Come Dine With Us, and you're on dessert duty.
Oh, alright.
On tonight's show, Luke is in charge of dessert, and we've got some mishaps coming your way, including a broken food processor.
And the blender has now came apart, which is brilliant.
Oh, for God's sake!
He decides to play with some fire.
Oh yes, we have fire. Oh, we have some sirens approaching. Maybe they heard me with the fire gun.
And finishes off with a baked meringue and a cheeky cocktail. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hello everybody, how are we all doing? Welcome back to my channel and to the third and final installation of our Come Dine With Us. Why can I not say that today? Hello everybody, how you doing? I hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. Welcome back to our third and final installation of the Come Dine With Us series, which myself, Mr. Carrington, also known as Ewan, and Kate McCabe created as a way to throw a virtual YouTube dinner party where we are the hosts and you guys are the guests. If you have been following along for the past 2 weeks, you will have known that I have already done my starter and my main course, and for the final installation I am on the dessert. So if you're watching these in order, you should have started with Ewan, had the main with Kate, and now you're here for the dessert. But if you haven't, don't worry, I've linked them all down below so you can watch in concession and see the dinner party unfold. Okay, so let's find out what Kate and Ewan are making this week.
Hello, I'm Ewan, and for the starters we are going to be doing some baked garlicky mushrooms. It's a really simple 5-ingredient recipe from Jamie Oliver, and I'll be knocking you up a cheeky cocktail.
Ooh, Ewan is doing some baked mushrooms, one of my absolute favourites and so easy to make. I love the idea of 5 ingredients. Let's see what Kate's doing for the main.
Hello, I'm Kate, and I'm going to be making the main course in tonight's dinner party. I'm going to be cooking a curry pie, nearly forgot then, curry pie with some tender stem broccoli.
Curry pie. Now that is something I've never had before. Sounds like a bit of me. I do love a pie, so Kate, I've got high hopes for that one. I am in charge of dessert this evening. I'm very much looking forward to this because pudding, dessert, whatever you call it, is by far my favourite course of a dinner party. I did a little bit of Googling, I did a little bit of searching of something that's going to be quite impressive but fairly easy to make, and I am going to be making a lemon meringue pie. Now this is one of my all-time favourite classic desserts. It's something I have so many memories with as a child because my nana and my mum used to make a mean lemon meringue pie, so I thought I'd give it a go. I have made plenty of lemon meringue pies in my past before. I've made one that was a giant one, which I'll leave on the screen here, and then I've also made many individual lemon meringue pie tarts. So this is a tried and tested recipe. Don't want to jinx this, but it should go according to plan. You're gonna need a handful of ingredients plus some fresh things, and then yeah, this is all we're gonna do. So yes, let's get cracking. If you do enjoy this series and you have been following along for the past couple of weeks, do smash that thumbs up button. And also, there's a link in the description box which you guys can actually vote on who you think has been the overall winner. So I'm down there with Ewan and Kate. It's nothing too competitive, it's just a bit of light-hearted fun. But if you do want to vote for us, there's a little link down below. Vote for me. Yeah, let's get cracking. Okay, so this is all of the ingredients you're going to need. Very, very simple ingredients, but hopefully going to have an amazing end result. So it's split up into 3 sections for this recipe. You need to create the pastry, you need to create the filling, and then you need to create the meringue. So we're going to need a couple of eggs, not too many, and I've noticed eggs are starting to become a little bit easier to find, so hopefully you guys can get your hands on them. So you are going to need some butter, 1 egg, some ice and sugar, and some plain flour. That's going to consist substitute towards the base. I will leave the whole recipe link and also ingredients and measurements down below if you do want to follow along at home. And then for the lemon curd filling, you're going to need some corn flour, some sugar, some lemons. These are amazing Italian lemons that I picked up from Waitrose. We've got some eggs and some orange and also some butter. And then obviously for the meringue, you're going to need some caster sugar and some egg whites. Now, I am going to be making an Italian meringue, which is a little bit different to the traditional meringue you might be used to. Or if you cast your mind back to when Kate made meringues.
In the higher oven for literally 5 minutes because it was going to take a long time, and they've
going to be a little bit different in that we don't actually bake the egg. We cook it with the sugar using a sugar thermometer, and then we blowtorch it. I know that sounds very fancy. You can of course follow the traditional method, but I thought let's throw a bit of fire in for the last installation. So yeah, you're gonna need a rolling pin, a tart tin with a removable bottom. I'm not sure the measurements of this. I think it might be 25 centimeters, but I could be wrong. And you're gonna need a sugar thermometer. And this is my chef's torch. I got this for Christmas a couple of years back and I absolutely love it. It's a bit lethal. Let's see if it's actually got some form of gas in it. I mean, we should have really tried to see if this works beforehand. Let's do that. Oh yes, we have fire. If I don't either set fire to my eyebrows, my beard, my hair, or all of the above by the end of this, then I'm not even trying. Right, I'm gonna put this down. Oh, we have some sirens approaching. Maybe they heard me with the fire gun. So into the food processor, I'm gonna add 175 grams of plain flour. So that is nearly 100, and don't worry, I've got some more flour. And then you're going to want to add 100 grams of cold butter, and then I'm just going to cut this up to help it along. So then we need to add 1 teaspoon of icing sugar into the pastry. So that's 1 in there, like that. And then we need 1 egg yolk. So what I'm going to do is crack into this ramekin, reserving the white because we can use that for the meringue. Just give it a little squeeze, and then pop the yolk into the blender. Okay, so this is now ready to blend up, so I'm just going to pop the blender on and then pop the lid on as well. Don't need to like, And we don't need to like vigorously blend this, we just need to actually pulse it, so we just do small pulses like that. So that's great to start off with, and then I need to add 1 tablespoon of cold water. I do a tablespoon at a time, otherwise it can get too wet. And the blender has now came apart, which is brilliant. Oh, for God's sake. Zara, this new blender isn't great, I take it back. Oh, for God's sake. And then onto a floured surface, I've just lightly floured this with a little bit of icing sugar and some flour. You just want to tip your pastry out. Make sure it all comes out at the bottom as well. Kind of add a splash more water if you feel like it needs it. Okay, so then when your pastry is looking like this, you just want to grab a little bit of the flour and dust your rolling pin and just roll the pastry out, being very, very careful when you do rotate it. I just do clockwise turns, sorry, anti-clockwise turns, just to make sure it's as round as it possibly can be. And I'm not being too forceful here, just being really, really gentle. Okay, so I'd say that's about done, and then you know when it's roughly the right size because you can pop your pie tin on the side of the pastries and you've got enough room on the sides for it to come up to. So this is looking pretty much perfect. So the best way I find to get the pastry in there, I know a lot of people do like the book fold, so you do a quick like 1 in, but personally I just roll it up on its side like that, and then just bring the pie dish over, ensure that there's enough on the side, which there is, and then gently flip it into the tin. Just be really nice and gentle and make sure that it doesn't tear or break. And then all I'm doing is just helping the pastry into the tin. Now, this is when you have a lot of options. You can trim the pastry and then bake it like that, or you can bake it like this and trim it afterwards. I find trimming afterwards helps with a neat edge. But personally, what I'm gonna do is just make sure it's all nice in there and freeze this. I'm gonna give it a blast in the freezer for around half an hour and then pop it in the fridge. Ideally you do this the night before, or you can just leave it, but you want the pastry to be as cold as it possibly can be before you blind bake it. So I'm gonna grab a knife and cut the edges off. And then what's a really good tip as well is grab some of your excess pastry, because our hands are so warm. just dab it in the flour and just make sure that it's pressed into each of the flutes. And if it just starts to stick, just roll in a little bit more flour. And then what you want to do is grab a fork and just prick the base of this. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is grab some bacon foil, pop it on and add some bacon weight. So I'm going to use bacon rice, but you can use bacon beans if you've got them, and pop this in the freezer and then the fridge. So now your tart has had time to cool, like I say, ideally overnight, but you can just leave it for around an hour and a half while you make yourself a cocktail or something like that. You want to preheat your oven to 180 degrees fan, and you want to pop a bacon tray in there just to make sure it's nice and preheated. And then you want to put your bacon case into the oven, and the pastry has to cook for around 15 minutes with the pastry weights in. So I'm using the rice, like I said, you can use pastry weights, pastry bacon beans, and it needs to blind bake. This is what we call the blind baking stage. Sorry if there's any pro bakers out there as well, I'm just going through this just in case. Then you can get cracking with your filling. So into a high-sided saucepan that's got quite a heavy bottom, pardon the pun, you want to add your sugar, and then you want to zest in 2 large lemons and add the juice in as well. And then you want to add 2 tablespoons of corn flour and add that to your heat, a fairly low heat, just to get things going until everything starts to melt together. I first started using a spoon, but then I transferred to a whisk. And then you just want to whisk that up, and then I added a juice of 1 medium-sized orange, and then I topped it up to make 200 ml of liquid with water, and then I just poured that in and whisked again and again and again until it was nice and thick and started to go really smooth. And then I added the butter, that is 85 grams of butter, and then I also added the yolks of 3 medium to large size egg yolks and 1 whole egg. Save the whites, guys, but make sure when you crack the whites into a separate bowl, it's completely clean and got no like grease or anything like that. This is really important, and I'll tell you why. So add all of your egg yolks and egg into your mix with your butter, and it should be nice and smooth and silky. And then you want to transfer that back onto the hob and whisk until it goes nice and thick till you've got your beautiful lemon curd filling. This is absolutely delicious. Of course, you can jar this up if you want to, but this is going to be the filling to our amazing lemon meringue pie. So whilst that is all cooking and baking and everything's getting thick and how it should be, don't have a meltdown. I nearly did, because I was trying to do 101 things at once whilst also filming it. Lemon meringue pie is not an easy dish, guys. It's delicious and it can be fun if you do it with more than one person. Yeah, what I did is transferred the egg whites into a stainless steel bowl that I'm going to use to make the meringues. So what I did is use one of the lemons that I used for the juice and the zest, and I completely wiped the inside of the bowl. This just gets rid of any grease, any like leftover food substances. I mean, it should be fairly clean, but obviously the grease does actually have an impact on how the meringues whip up. So yeah, I'm gonna now make the meringue, but obviously the pastry case is now baking and the filling is done. So once all that's done and had time to cool, I'll get cracking with the meringue. Okay, so to make your meringue, traditionally you would do a French meringue, which is just whipping up some egg whites, adding the sugar in, and then you pop it into the oven to bake. However, for a lemon meringue pie, I feel like we can ramp it up a notch just to get those extra points. So I'm going to be making an Italian style meringue. There's 3 types of meringue. You can do French, Swiss, or Italian. As far as I'm aware, they're the only types of meringue. And this is Italian, so you make a delicious sugar syrup which actually cooks the egg white, which means you don't need to bake it. You can just leave it as it is, or blow torches, which is what we're going to do. Into a pan, I've added 480 grams, I think it was 480 grams. It's a lot of sugar. And then I need to add 150 grams of water. I know it sounds weird measuring water in grams, but it means it has to be accurate, otherwise you'll get the wrong consistency, and then that needs to go onto a hob. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so now that is on the heat, this is our filling, by the way, that is just chilling and cooling down there. So we need to add this onto the heat and just start on a fairly, I'd say like a fairly low-ish heat, just to get the water and sugar mixing together. And then we're going to add the sugar thermometer and bring it up to 110 degrees. Okay, so the sugar is starting to boil, and as you can see, we're currently sitting at around 60 degrees. So this just needs to slowly creep up to 110 degrees, and then we can start whipping our egg whites. So I'm just going to pop the lid to the KitchenAid down now. I'm going to start this on a slow to medium speed. Like I say, you can use a hand held electric whisk if you want. I wouldn't do this by hand because we need to whip this for around 10 minutes. So I'm going to start on a fairly low-ish speed just to get the bubbles going. In the meantime, I'm just gonna add my filling to my torta case, which has had time to thicken up and cool down. So we're currently sitting at 100 degrees now, guys, so it just needs to go up to 110. This is a really handy thermometer, I'll link it down below, but jam consistency is around 105, so we're nearly there. Okay, so this is now getting up to the 110 degree point. We actually need to take this to 118 degrees Celsius, which is the perfect sweet spot to add into our meringue mix. So the egg whites are now starting to whip up beautifully, so I'm just gonna turn that down just to keep that going. I mean, I'm not stressed. Currently got some kind of science experiment going on over here. My KitchenAid sounds like it's going 20 to the dozen, but we're okay. Okay, so with the whisk going nice and fast, gonna wanna add in our sugar syrup and add it in very, very, very slowly now. Please do be careful because this is very, very hot sugar syrup, so you do not want to hurt yourself at all. So just very, very slowly does it just into the meringue and crank up the speed. You really want this to get nice and voluminous. So as you can see, the steam is coming off the meringue and that bowl is very hot to touch. You know when to stop, when you can pop your hand on the side comfortably without it really hurting. So this has got to take at least 5 minutes. And this is the end result, guys. Let me just take this out so you can actually get an idea. So this is Italian meringue. It's beautifully thick, creamy. When you hold it up, the stiff peaks form just like that. I am so impressed. This is an enormous amount of meringue, so I'm definitely gonna have some left over. This is pretty much amazing. So what I'm gonna do is decant some of it into a piping bag, and then I'm gonna pipe directly onto our tart, which is here. And this has came out really, really well. It's got a beautiful golden crust, and the pastry is not like perfect. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to this thing, so of course you can use like a serrated knife and tidy it up, but honestly guys, you don't really need to at all. So yeah, I'm just gonna pipe huge mountain peaks of meringue on top of the pie. Okay, so we're gonna go in for the meringue, but you just want to scoop amazing amounts of meringue into your piping bag. Of course, you can always come back and add more. So just push the meringue down into the piping bag like so, and then twist the top, and that should just force the meringue down. And you can just do a little practice run on the side like so. But what I'm gonna do is do gigantic peaks on the meringue. Look at that! Right, I should probably start in the middle and then work my way out because that would be sensible. Okay, so what I'm actually gonna do is just pile some meringue into the center like so, and then pipe around it. I think that's just gonna be a little bit easier, otherwise we're gonna be on a while doing this. Okay, so this is the end result we went for. The kind of peaks didn't really work. I think my pipe nozzle was a little bit small. So I've gone for this like rustic, kind of like baked Alaska vibe, but look at that. Pillows of delicious meringue. That is just gonna be absolutely delicious. But we can leave it there, of course. However, we're gonna take it a little step further and blowtorch the edges so all of these peaks just got a beautiful golden brown color. So let's do that now. Mom, if you're watching at home, I know you always said as a child, never play with fire. However, I think we can make an excuse because this is for the wonders that is a lemon meringue pie. Let's go. Okay, so the lemon meringue pie is baked. The guests are waiting. The only thing I now have to do, which you guys should all know by now, is get ready for the occasion. And we don't do things by halves, so if that's not an excuse to get dressed up to the nines, then I don't know what is. So, let's try that one more time. So, that'll do. Let's get dressed. Okay, so I am dressed. I've gone for a waistcoat this evening with a crisp white shirt, and now all there's left to do is to set the living room for the final course of this Come Dine With Us series, which is going to be dessert. So let's go. set for the last and final course of our Come Dine With Us, and I feel an immense amount of privilege that I have been asked to take care of desserts. So I have everything set up for what I can only describe as probably my ideal evening indoors, which is consistent of a gigantic lemon meringue pie and an espresso martini setup stand, which we've got going over here. If you are a fan of espresso martinis, then you're going to absolutely love this, because this is probably one of my most favourite cocktails of all time, if not my most favourite cocktail, and it just so happens that I thought I'd save the best to last. So we are going to serve up dessert momentarily, but I'm going to move on to the cocktail. If you don't drink, by all means, don't feel like you have to have a cocktail with your lemon meringue pie. Enjoy this, but I know Kate and Ewan do enjoy a little tipple, as do I. So yeah, we're going to make an espresso martini, and the trick with an espresso martini is to make everything as cold as it possibly can be, so when you shake it up you get that nice froth on top. So ingredients wise, you are going to need some coffee liqueur. We're using Kahlua. You're going to need some vodka. This is Tesco's finest vodka. We're pretty limited in our spirit supply on our bar cart at the minute. We're not massive vodka drinkers, but in espresso martinis, it's delicious. And you're of course obviously going to need some espressos. This is just a double espresso that I brewed, and you are going to need some form of sweetener to make this a nice delicious drink. So I'm going to use some agave syrup, but you can use simple syrup, you can use maple syrup, vanilla syrup if you've got that, just any form of sweetener, or if you just like your martinis classic, then just do that. So yeah, basically into a shaker you're going to want to add 50 ml of vodka, and this originated from, I think it was the 1920s in New York, when a very hard stockbroker walked into a bar after a very long day and asked the bartender for a drink that was going to wake him up, and the rest you can probably anticipate FU him up. So yeah, that's what you got. You got something that was probably going to wake him up with a coffee and then do some damage with everything else. So yeah, we're going to do 50 ml of coffee liqueur. It's going to go straight in as well. And then we're going to do 50 ml of espresso. Ideally this would be as cold as possible, guys. And then a little bit of agave syrup. Like I say, any form of sweetener is perfect. Okay, so once you've got all of your liquids in your shaker, I have had a martini glass chilling with some ice in it. Again, the colder the better. You can freeze your glasses if you want to, but I'm just going to pour the ice into the glass shaker. Perfect. And then you just want to pop your lid on your tin. These are called Boston tins and shakers. You get these from Amazon, eBay, or you can just use like a blender if you shake it up in that. So yeah, make sure it's definitely on there and shake away. So you release your cocktail once you've got the nice frost on the glass. It's just to hit it on its side, and it should just decant nicely like so. Then all we want to do is double strain. So this is a Hawthorne strainer and this is a tea strainer. So you do 1 on 1. And pour directly into our martini. This is the perfect after dinner cocktail, guys, for when the sun is just about to set and you've had your starter and main and you're finishing with dessert. I mean, sometimes I just have a liquid dessert, which is just one of these. The only thing left to do, and of course this is a complete fancy touch, but just finished with 3 espresso beans. So we do 1, I always group them together, I don't know why, it's just something we used to do in the bar I worked at. 1, 2, and 3. 1 espresso martini, 1 lemon meringue pie. Stick in. Right guys, nothing left to do but to go in for a taste test of the cocktail. I know this is going to be delicious, but we might as well do it anyway. Oh god. Oh, it hits right the spot. Hits the spot, it ticks the spot, gives it a little pat on the head, and it's like, job well done. Oh god, that's good. Right, let's go in for a taste. I have actually brought a kitchen knife in because I didn't really think this would do the job, but it might do. Oh my word. Look at that. Oh, it looks amazing. I can't actually wait any longer. I'm going to put my napkin down just in case this goes on my suit. Let me just turn this around so you can see. Oh, right. I mean, I'm not going to go in for a small piece. If we're going to do a mouthful, guys, we're going to go in. We're going to go ham, as I would say. Oh my word. That is everything and more. The meringue is as light as a feather. There's a really nice sharp citrus taste coming from the lemon curd, and the pastry melts in your mouth. You don't even need to, I said I'm going to share this with Zara. I don't think I am. Oh good lord, that's good. Okay guys, that is it. Thank you so much for joining us on this little mini 3-part series that myself, Ewan and Kate have been working on. It's been an absolute pleasure to film for you guys and also to create something that you can get involved in as well. Thank you so much. Genuinely, I've absolutely loved it. It's been so lovely to do this every single week. And of course, as I said at the start of the video, you can vote for who you think your Come Dine With Me winner is vote for me. I'm joking. Yeah, you can vote and the link will be in the description box down below. And also, if you have enjoyed this series, do also check out Iwan and Kate. Iwan is doing the starter, Kate is doing the main course, and of course I've covered dessert. And if you do want to see more, absolutely do leave a comment down below what you want us to do next, because we're always looking for new ideas and I absolutely love collaborating with Iwan and Kate, and it seems you guys do enjoy it as well. So thank you so much for watching as always. Stay safe, spread lots of love. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday or whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now. Right, let's get absolutely trolleyed!